Paul Meynell. Welcome to Back to Byker.
You all right? How you doing?
Good, nice to see you. It's been 20 years.
Don't remind us how old I am, mate.
I think the last time I saw you, you must have been, what, 14?
Yeah, something like that.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
had a
yeah.
lot of requests for you to come on here.
Oh,
Stumpy,
well, that's good.
yeah, Stumpy was a fan favorite, I think, especially with like the noughties biker fans. That must be a nice feeling, is it?
Yeah, but I always got the impression that the dog that started with me was more famous than I was. Like, I was on the show for ages, ages. I think it was like 8 years or something. And everybody just mentions the dog. Oh, where's Wombat? Where's Wombat? In the end, I just started to tell people, oh, the dog died. I mean, I don't know what happened to the dog.
I think he did die, didn't he? Well, he will
Well,
definitely.
definitely by now.
Well,
Definitely.
he was a good dog to work with, though. He was very well behaved, wasn't he?
Yeah, not all the time. I
Oh,
mean, I didn't do many scenes for yourselves, really, did I?
no.
There was times where, we were filming with the dog in the back where that big play park thing was, and
Yeah.
the dog would just be going running wild, and like you meant to stand on your mark. Didn't work with kids and dogs.
Yes, I know.
And
So,
I mean, obviously, I was pretty young at the time, like 10-year-old,
yeah,
so I was a kid with a dog. Like it must have been a nightmare for the crew.
yeah, but that's quite a lot, isn't it, for a young actor? You know, you were remembering lines, and you were very good at remembering lines, I've got to say, from what I can remember. And you had a dog to work with, so hats
Oh,
off.
the dog was great. The dog was great. But yeah, yeah, he died a long time ago.
Yeah. So because you were so young when you started, do you remember your first audition?
Yeah, yeah, like it was like a big workshop of auditions. There was like 300 people or something.
Yeah.
And they whittled it down and down and down because they had about 4 or 5 parts
Hmm.
all at one go. So like Bradley, he was in the audition process with us, and like you
Yeah.
could tell there was a mixture of older people, and I was obviously part of the younger people. So they
Yeah.
had like a big workshop going on. So it kind of felt like, oh, I'd like fought off 300 people, although that wasn't really true.
Wow. Oh, and because you were young as well, did that mean that you were nervous about starting, or were you too young to realize how big a deal it
I
was?
think I was just too young, you know.
Yeah.
I remember just being told, "Oh, we're going here." Like my mum would say, "Get in the car, we're going here." "Oh, you're going here, you're doing this." Like I don't really have much memory of thinking about what was really happening and why I was like the auditions weren't like a big thing to me because I didn't really know what they were.
Yeah.
Being nine. But yeah, the whole process, I remember it quite clearly, and I remember a lot of faces being there, like Dee. Loads of people have mentioned Dee on your videos. Like
Mhm.
she was there, and I remember giving her a cuddle and stuff, and like the process was huge when you think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember that feeling of being overwhelmed or starstruck or anything like that.
Yeah. Who helped you with your lines? Did you run them with your mum and dad?
In the early days, no, no. I think it was a case of like the day before you got the schedule of what was going to be shot, so
Yeah.
you could literally just learn that one scene.
Yeah.
And I think when I think back, right, we didn't spend a lot of time. I didn't spend a lot of time on set, because I was so young. But
Yeah.
then I remember Harry
Didn't
Potter
you
was
have
coming around.
your own chaperone as well because you were so young?
No, I think me and Jade, who played Regina, I think we
Yeah.
shared Joan.
Ah,
Which
right.
yeah, yeah, but I remember at the time like when Harry Potter started to get kicked off, because I
Yeah.
auditioned for Harry Potter. I don't know if you know that. Obviously didn't
No.
get it because I'm a Geordie. Well, I'm from Sunderland, rivals, but I've got a northern accent, so I don't quite fit the part of, don't know why I bothered trying to audition. Worth a punt, I guess. um but it was around the time of Harry Potter where they changed the legal rules of how long kids could work on set, and then it was after then like you could tell the days were getting longer.
Yeah. All right. Did you have any favorite storylines while you were a biker?
Mm, from myself,
Yeah.
not really.
Oh,
There was I always like sort of thought about my character strangely because you looked at Byker Grove and what it was trying to do in terms of having hard hitting storylines and being able to capture a certain like topic at the time,
mhm.
like self harm and all that sort of stuff. But Stumpy wasn't a character that got involved with those sorts of things.
Mm,
So like I remember at the time like thinking, oh, I wish I had these like really hard-hitting storylines, etc. But actually I think my character developed into a bit of like comic relief to
hmm.
be able to balance the show into not being so heavy. You know,
Yeah,
you got teen pregnancy and then there's Stumpy being a magician. Like
yeah. It
so
was
there
needed.
wasn't like a standout storyline for
Yeah,
me, but it was just like that mixture of just trying to be, you know, a little bit funny and a little bit lighthearted against all of the other stuff that's happening. Like he
yeah,
was just a clueless character. He was
yeah.
completely clueless.
But you definitely brought some comic relief because I watched your first episode last night and you were brilliant. You really were.
Oh, thanks. I
I,
was so young.
I feel like your delivery in the lines at the time, it was sort of like whatever you said, it was going to be hilarious. You know what I mean?
Thanks, thanks.
Now, educate me on
Yeah,
the later series because I didn't really see much of Byker after I left. And
yeah.
obviously, the show, they were asked to aim the show at a younger demographic, I think. So obviously the more hard-hitting storylines took a back seat and the younger cast started doing their thing. Do you feel like you missed out on the more hard-hitting storylines because when the show was ending, you were at that age when you probably would have been taking those sort of things on?
Um, potentially, but like I remember when I was on the show, like there's characters like Kylie,
Hmm.
played by Gaynor Milligan. Like she had a self-harm story. I thought that was
Okay.
pretty tough for
Yeah, that
but
is.
you're right. I might be wrong here, but my understanding is that the BBC's remit sort of
Mhm.
changed over the time,
Yeah.
and you saw it coming with because Grange Hill also got axed about a year before
Yes.
Byker Grove did, and I
Yeah.
don't think it was anything to do with the quality of the two shows. It was
Mm.
just to do with how the BBC recognised Sky had come about, Nickelodeon. You know, you've got Disney channel, you know, Cartoon Network. There's a lot more diversification in channels you could watch
Yeah.
as sort of like a preteen to teenager. So I
Mm.
just think that BBC in general just brought the audience down, and you can see it across the board with their shows.
Yeah.
So yes, I can remember joining at the young age, and seeing like yourself and Ollie and Ben and Greg, like they were older, and I like looked up to them and respected them. And then, you know, over the years, the storylines weren't so hard hitting.
Hmm.
But I think that was just I think that was just the show trying to keep in step with what the BBC wanted.
Yeah.
And then I think that kind of went a bit extreme with the final series,
Mm.
where they clearly changed the remit to just get rid of, I think it was over 12 or something. I don't know the actual numbers.
Mm.
Um, and I think the whoever was in charge decided to try something new to see if the show could appeal to the younger audience. But I definitely think that the heart of the show was with sort of teens really, and some
Yeah.
of those you don't see it today. You don't see those kinds of
No.
storylines today. You look at something on Netflix and it's like it's older, isn't it?
Hmm.
Or you look at something on the BBC and it's younger. There is definitely a gap of age.
Yeah. Absolutely. Am I right in thinking that you really look back on your time on Byker fondly?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think everybody does. I think
Yeah.
everybody does.
What?
Like
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, like I've made friends for life. You know,
Yeah.
like this the Joe McCabe who was written into the story to be my cousin Kevin.
Yeah.
Like he was the best man at my wedding.
Oh,
Like, and
really?
I was best man at his wedding, and we're really close, and like our families be together, and we've got that
Yeah.
really good relationship from the show. Like we'd never be friends from like still if it wasn't for Byker Grove. And
Yeah.
there's just a lot to talk about, like memories and stuff.
Mm.
So yes, yeah, there was definitely like a family feeling and a very positive vibe about the whole
Mhm.
place,
Yeah.
both like with the cast and the crew.
Mm. There's definitely a bond
Mm,
that you take with you later in life because
yeah.
you look back on it so fondly. I think yeah, we all loved it. And so do you remember when it was announced that the series was going to be finishing completely?
Yes, yeah, it was funny. Like I was at sixth form at the time, and some guy just shouted down the corridor, "Byker Grove's ending." I'm like, "What's
Oh,
he on about?"
because
And
it was
then
in the
like
press.
then I got a sorry.
Because it was in the press.
Well, I don't know. I think it was on the radio or something that morning, and just
Right.
someone shouted it down the corridor. And then, like at lunchtime, I got a call from, the people upstairs,
Yeah.
and they sort of said, "Oh, you might have heard by now," and it was ended. So it was a little bit of like, why am I being shouted at that it's ended? And it's clearly not, because I would
Mm,
have been told. But then I don't know how it actually came about, whether it leaked or,
mm,
but for some reason people cottoned on before I did.
yeah. Uh, no, I think that's bad though that you found out like that. 'Cause I remember,
Yeah,
I think I was presenting at CBBC that day, and I remember it was on news round and stuff, so
was it?
it was in the news. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I was wondering if you were filming that day and they told you there like that. That would have been a bit
Yeah, no, it was pretty early. Like there was other cast members who were filming that day, and
right.
they're like in the taxi going there on the morning, and then
Yeah.
it's on the radio, and they were like hearing it in the car on the way, and like obviously they're like a bit younger and like start to cry and stuff, and
Yeah.
I think it could have been handled better, but obviously I don't know what actually happened behind the scenes, how it
Mm.
maybe it was leaked or something.
Yeah. Oh, I feel for the people the cast who just started as well, and then
Yeah.
the show was going to finish because they didn't get to have their full time there.
Yeah. But like I say, Grange Hill had ended the year before.
Mm,
So I think they saw it coming, especially with the sort of change in the scripts and the style of the show by that
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
They clearly knew something was happening.
Let's talk about the last episode.
Yeah.
What did you think about how it finished?
I've got the script here if you want to see
Let's see it, yeah.
it. I'm gonna I was really good and I always like bound me scripts,
Oh,
right?
that's very professional.
So like this is the last four episodes.
They're in very good condition.
And I think I was just looking at them today, and like one thing you should notice, and you'll remember this, that whenever like they've made a change in the script, they'll
Yeah,
do like pink pages.
yeah,
And like if you look at this, like it's mostly like pink.
yeah.
And I get the impression from just looking at this, there was a lot of changes and rewrites.
Right. Okay.
So like it did change format really.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
obviously, there was a new producer the last season had a new producer, and I
Right.
think he was trying to make his own sort of ideas and so. Like, I don't look at it as a bad thing. I just think they were trying to prove to the BBC that you can recommission us for some more years because we can change.
Mm, yeah. I mean, and they had to wrap up somehow. So, what better?
Yeah. So the idea of like one of the characters pushing the plunger and blowing up the
Yeah.
grove and
Yeah.
like it's a bit wild.
Yeah.
It's a bit wild.
It wasn't you though, was it?
No, it
No.
wasn't me, no.
Okay. Don't blame it on Stumpy.
No, it wasn't my fault. That is definitely something Stumpy would have done, I think.
Yes. Do you remember your last day on set? Were you there for the
Oh,
final?
yeah.
Were you?
Yeah, right. Whenever I watch like Friends or Big Bang Theory or like Gavin and Stacey, when you get to the last episode, I just cry all the time because it brings back all those memories of the last
Yeah.
day. And like I'm sitting watching, say, the last episode of Friends when they close the door and they go to the coffee shop. And I'm like, I feel so emotional about like saying goodbye to the people I've worked with for like 10 years. Well, 8 years, sorry. And like all those feelings keep coming back. So like whenever I get to the end of a series, I'm like, I can't watch the last episode. I can't watch the last episode.
I know what you mean, yeah. Because you
Yeah,
feel,
so like
you understand.
absolutely, and you can kind of see beyond the camera, can't you? Of like,
Mm,
the grip and the lights and the people around that regular people watching the show would never kind of understand,
yeah.
and like the relationships you tie to those people.
Mm,
Yeah, so I watched Gavin and Stacey final on Christmas, and like I was just a mess because all these things about like your last mark and saying bye-bye to people who you may never know you're going to see again.
yeah. It must have been an emotional day.
Yeah, yeah.
And then after Biker, did you want to continue acting?
So after Byker, I was kind of at the age to go to university,
Yeah.
and I was sort of in a fortunate position at Byker Grove to like be able to go up and see different processes.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you remember ever going up to like the edit suite and seeing some of your
Yeah.
scenes.
Hmm.
So like I when I was younger, like I don't know, 13 or 14, I'd go up to the edit suite
Hmm.
because they'd be like, "Oh, do you want to see your scene? See your scene?" And I'm watching the edit and the software and the guy clicking it, the editor and all those things, and I'm like, I'm watching like this process more than the scene that I'm in. And
Really?
like I got like into the idea of becoming an editor, and that's what I do today. I'm a video editor, and it's all thanks to like the editors there, like being really helpful and showing us a few bits and bobs. So that's kind of how I got into what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely how I got into
Yeah.
what I was doing today because I saw it being done and then got to sort of pick up, oh, that was a clever little trick he did.
Hmm.
Like when I finished school and stuff, I spent like a week just sitting with the editors and doing like work experience, which is an opportunity not like people don't get.
Yeah.
And I hope that people could get that opportunity from places.
Hmm.
Um, but but it definitely threw me into the editing and wanting to do that rather than acting. I mean, I did do a couple of like acting jobs on Alistair Fury, and
Oh yeah.
I did like a webisode of the Dumping Ground.
Yeah.
So there was a few bits and bobs, but I did just find myself in university
Yeah.
and then like trying to become like behind the scenes.
Hmm. Oh, I love that you picked that up on Biker though, that you found
Yeah.
another interest rather than acting. That's great. Oh, I love that.
Mhm.
And are there any other cast members that you're still in touch with other than Joe?
I mean, Joe's the one I talk to all the time,
Yeah.
but every now and then you get a Facebook message or something,
Yeah.
and every now and then you bump into somebody, and it's like you've never stopped seeing
See.
them. You know what I mean? You always have that rapport, and
Mm.
but I think on the whole, people it's been that long now. People have sort of drifted apart.
Mm. But this is what I've loved about doing this is reconnecting
Yeah.
with people and stuff. And it is like I spoke to people the other day. It's great. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Been
I mean,
really,
I've watched them already, like a couple of them you've already done,
yeah.
and it's strange how like I never worked with Spuggy, but
Yeah.
like some of the things she says like really rings true to my experiences,
Yeah.
and it feels like I know her, but obviously I don't know her.
Yeah. You can connect though from
Yeah,
shared experience, even though you weren't there at the same time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, let's talk about the reboot. If you got a call from Ant and Dec, what would you say?
I'd snap their hands off. I'll take a day out of my job and go down and be an extra. I'll read a script definitely. Like I was born in Sunderland. I went to Newcastle and I did Byker Grove, and my entire childhood was Byker Grove and
Mhm.
the Northeast. So
Mhm.
for them to bring something from the Northeast back into the limelight, like I'm so passionate about that idea, and regardless of whether any of us are in it or not. I just wish for it to be such a success,
Yeah.
like for the region,
Mhm.
because I think like with the loss of like Vera recently,
Mhm.
this it will be really good to have something to put the Northeast back on the map.
Absolutely. Maybe we could have you editing the new series. That would be like full
I
circle.
wish. Absolutely. Hey, I'll do like the behind the scenes or anything.
Yeah,
Get me
that'd be
involved.
great. This has been lovely, Paul. This has been great.
Nice to see you.
You
Few and
too.
far between.
We just went back to biker.